Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Morganne Judd. Thank you so much for joining us. This week, we visit a film class, paint and sip, spreading gratitude, and more. And of course, David Okula will have all things Rhody athletics covered in this week's Rhody Sports Corner. For our top story, this semester, the students of Keith Brown's Film 445 Advanced Narrative Production class have been creating short films. Here's a behind-the-scenes look into the class and their work. The students of Professor Keith Brown's Film 445 class have been busy at work this semester creating their own narrative films.
The 445 class this semester is an advanced narrative production class where the students come into the semester with a written narrative script, and then we sort of choose what goes into production based on writing workshops and a green lighting process.
Students within the class have been focusing on growing their skills within film production. Rex Witcher directed his film titled The Last Customer, inspired by the popular series The Twilight Zone. Rex said that Film 445 was a great asset in being able to create his film.
I think one of the best things about Film 445 is that it helps you all the way through the process rather than, it's just production or it's just pre-production. We take the scripts from their lowest level, build them up, rough draft after rough draft. We get into writers groups, and it allows you to kind of refine your idea before you even get to production. And then once we get into production itself, it was really helpful to work with people who I knew.
445's topic is different for every semester. But for this semester, Keith Brown hoped to get students to venture more into their creative side when filmmaking.
We teach classes where students are making short films all the time, but for this semester, what I was trying to get at is to get the students to sort of tap into their creativity. This semester they read a book that these independent directors had written that gave them some ideas about how to get ideas. We started this writers workshop, writers group thing, which I think helped them workshop their scripts some more. And then in addition to making these short narrative productions, they all had to work on this very short film, and that was an assignment that didn't have a lot of rules. And so some of the stuff that came out of there was really creative. So I think that this course is helpful for students to sort of tap into that creative piece of their brain and sort of work with it to make some cool films.
In the class, students can explore with different roles within filmmaking. Roles include camera operation, lighting, sound, producing, and directing.
Honestly, throughout the semester, I kind of got to experiment with all sorts of roles in production. I've always been mostly a visual and camera person. So this semester, we had a class shoot where we, as a class, during class time, we went out and shot a short film. And I actually acted in it, which was something I never do. And on other sets, I worked on sound, set design. It gave me a broader view of film production. 7
short films have been created this semester within 445. Those films are Muscle Car, Citizen Kong, Fawn, The Last Customer, With My Little Eye, The Interview, and The Long Weekend. I was able to visit one of those student film productions this semester. This is the set of Citizen Kong, directed by Scott Embleton. By taking Film 445, Scott was able to bring his short film to life.
My favorite part of 445 has been being able to be in control of my vision for my short film, being able to collaborate with a lot of my peers, people that I'm friends with, people that I enjoy working with, and being able to take something from such a small, like an idea basically, and turning it into this form of art that I can share with other people and hope that they enjoy.
All student films will be showcased on Monday, December 15th at 6 p.m. in the Edwards Auditorium. I'm Morganne Judd with the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. Back to you. How do you spread gratitude? Casey Chan-Smutko visited a gratitude wall in the Memorial Union for Unwind Your Mind Week. Here's Casey on the scene.
I'm currently in the Memorial Union where students are sharing what they're grateful for within the community.
Run by student involvement, students wrote their messages on sticky notes and put them on a whiteboard. Afterwards, they scanned a QR code for a raffle to win a stuffer ring.
So what this event entails our Unwind Your Mind Week, which is like a 5-day span of events going on. It's gradual, just to have students come over here, write down what they're grateful for, what they're looking forward to, what kind of made this semester special. So we wanted to make sure we gave back to our students, have little like handouts, little, candy giveaways, and then when they write down on the board, they get a chance to enter our giveaway to get us something right back.
I'm grateful for my mom, my dad, my brother, and anybody from my family.
This has been Casey Chan-Smutko with the Good 5 Cent Cigar. Back to you.
Thanks, Casey. Paint and Sip was hosted last Friday in the Ram's Den. News editor Sadie Brandt attended the event. Here's Sadie.
Last week was Unwind Your Mind Week at URI to prepare students for final exams. Come join me for Paint and Sip night. Paint and Sip took place within the URI Ram's Den. Upon entering, students were encouraged to make their own mocktails. With a variety of materials provided, students could make their mocktails to their liking to enjoy while painting. Paint and Sip was instructed by former URI graduate and artist instructor Rebecca Cook. Students were provided with a painting easel, canvas, brushes, and paint colors needed for their paintings. Students followed along with Cook as she explained the steps to recreating their own version of a Northern Lights landscape painting. What are we painting tonight?
So we're doing the Northern Lights and Aurora Borealis, and we just kind of kept it fairly simple in the background, although we did do a lot of blending coming down, and it was neat to see how everybody kind of went with the lights. This technique, you want to do like a lot of like thinner layers on top to try to get that transparency, but like I said, I think they all did a great job.
Paint and Sip has been a reoccurring event hosted by the URI Student Office of Involvement. C Advisor Eddie Brito encourages students to attend events such as Paint and Sip.
Especially in the beginning of the year, I feel like to come out to events like these, you get to meet your friends, especially when you're as a first-year student. You can meet all your friends at these events. Not only that, we have Unwind Your Mind Week, so you get to relieve your stress here at these events, so it's just a lovely time here.
Cook has been participating with Paint and Sip at URI for years and said that Paint and Sip events are always great. How do you feel like the paintings turned out tonight?
They did great, yeah. This is, it's a fun painting, but there are some little tricky techniques in there, but they did great. And it's so fun to see like everybody's different interpretation of it.
All right, we just finished up our paintings here at Paint and Sip. I'm Sadie Brandt for the Good 5 Cent Cigar. Back to you.
Thanks, Sadie. Have you made a jar of pickles? URI's Hillel Center infused Jewish history and pickle making into an educational seminar. Arts and Culture editor Ella Gerdts attended the event. Here's Ella.
Do you know the connection between pickles and Jewish history? Join me in URI Hillel's pickle making party to learn more.
Long tables were set with empty jars and an assortment of ingredients provided by Hillel, including garlic, dill, dried chili peppers, and salt. The event began with an introduction from Rabbi Wise, who spoke in depth about the roots of Jewish foods and the cultural significance behind the traditional recipes. Students then followed along as he guided them through his kosher pickle recipe. They first had us wash our hands, then we cut cucumbers and placed them into our jars with other ingredients provided. Rabbi Wise, invited as a special guest, shared how pickles have long been tied to Jewish culture and cuisine, making the experience both educational and meaningful.
One of the reasons is that cucumbers grow in cooler climates compared to some things that they couldn't grow in Europe. Like potatoes grow real well in cooler climates. And the salt that goes into pickles, salt is like a preservative, and it would get them through the winter because of the salt. It would keep them edible.
Pickle making has become a reoccurring tradition at URI Hillel. Michael Schreiber emphasized the importance of offering hands-on cultural events like these at URI.
Well, we just love opportunities for Jewish students to connect and get to know each other, and also connect to their heritage, make some food, and learn a little bit more about food significance and that culinary connection to Judaism that a lot of students have. And also for non-Jewish students as well, to be able to learn a little bit more about Jewish culture and Jewish food and Jewish traditions.
We just finished up pickle making. I'm Ella Gerdts with the Good 5 Cent Cigar. Back to you.
Thanks, Ella. Now I'll hand it off to Aidan on location.
Did you know that just about half a mile south of URI's Kingston campus sits the ruins of one of the oldest and best named cotton mills in all of America? Welcome to Aidan on Location at Biscuit City. Now that name might stand out, Biscuit City. How does a community end up with the name Biscuit City? Well, it stems back to local lore. but the earliest recorded proof of the name I can find goes back to Shepherd Tom Thomas Robinson Hazard in his 1880 Johnny Cake Papers, where he refers to the community as such. As for the local lore, the Rhode Island Historical Society puts it like this. A door-to-door salesman came through the village and was surprised at how many biscuits each house was making. Other people have told the story that nobody answered because of how many biscuits they were making. Either way, there was an abundance of biscuits, and that is genuinely it. Biscuit City never really warranted the title of city, though. There were only ever 6 houses surrounding the mill, and it was always dwarfed in size by the town of Little Rest, now called Kingston, just half a mile away. Though this place is Biscuit City today, it was once known as Harley's Mill after one of the owners of the mill that once sat on this site. There was a grist mill here through the 1700s, but this site did not become significant until 1808 when Jonathan Babcock established the South County Cotton Manufactory, the first cotton manufacturing company in all of America, along with a mill on this site. This mill ultimately changed hands a few times during the 1800s, though after a flood in 1885 and a fire in the decade following, it became largely forgotten. By 1918, only 2 of the houses remained, and by today, this foundation is one of the only pieces left of the entire site. Luckily, abandonment is not the final step in the process for a lot of these sites. Many rural mill villages like this have been turned into parks and nature preserves for their local communities to continue to enjoy to this day.
Thanks, Aidan. Looking ahead, here's what's happening next week at URI. Final exams for the fall 2025 semester take place next week. Good luck, Rams. With that, I'll hand it off to David Okula with this week's Rhody Sports Corner.
Thanks, Morganne. Hello and welcome to the Rhody Sports Corner, your place for all the latest updates across URI athletics. I'm David Okula. Men's basketball looked to extend its winning streak to 4 games when it traveled to Providence for the latest edition of the Ocean State rivalry on Saturday. After a back-and-forth first half, the Friars pulled away from the Rams, outscoring them 49-34 in the second half on their way to handing URI a 90-71 defeat. Michael Petraske has the story from the Amica Mutual Pavilion.
The University of Rhode Island men's basketball team lost 90-71 against the Providence College Friars. The 19-point deficit was the largest loss of the season for the Rams. The Rams were also looking to secure their first win inside the Amica Mutual Pavilion since 2002. Saturday's game also offered the Rams a chance at securing a victory against the Friars in back-to-back years, something Rhody hasn't done since they beat PC in 2002 and 2003. The Rams opened the game on a 14-2 run, highlighted by 2 made threes from 4th-year guard Jonah Hinton. Friars first-year guard Stephon Vox then hit 4 straight three-pointers over the next minute and a half to tie the game at 14 apiece. The Friars were able to build on the momentum from that 12-0 run, following it up with an 11-2 run to take a 9-point lead with about 8 minutes remaining in the half. The Rams would go on a 15-4 run just a few minutes later to take back the lead before relinquishing it and heading into halftime down 4. The teams traded buckets throughout the start of the second half until PC went on a 13-0 run to take a 12-point lead. URI would miss 7 straight field goal attempts during the run. URI head coach Archie Miller used the last of his timeouts with 10 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game to regroup the team and make some defensive adjustments to stop the Friars' run. The timeout was unable to stop PC's momentum as the Friars never fell below a double-digit deficit and extended their lead to a game-high 21 points. Here's what Miller had to say about using the last of his timeouts earlier than usual.
Well, when you're on the road, especially from a running perspective and a momentum perspective, the 2 that we called, I think one in the first half, about 7-8 minutes in, we could probably, maybe hate that one, but just a feel in the game with the runs and how it's going, help your team.
Jonah Hinton and third-year guard Jameer Tripp hit a couple of three-pointers at the end of the game to cut into the Friars' lead and reach the final score of 90-71. Hinton was the leading scorer of both teams, scoring 23 points and shooting 7 of 14 from beyond the arc. The Rams will head back to the Ryan Center to take on McNeese State on Tuesday. For the Rhody Sports Corner, I'm Michael Petraske.
As for some other scores and results around campus this week, football had its historic season come to an end on Saturday as the Rams fell 47-26 to UC Davis in the second round of the FCS playoffs. Following its loss to Providence, men's basketball returned to the Ryan Center for a matchup with McNeese State, where the Rams fell 66-64 on a last-second shot. Women's basketball won its second straight road game against Maine on Sunday in a 69-56 victory. Then the Rams wrapped up their three-game road trip with a showdown against in-state rival Providence on Wednesday. Men's track and field kicked off its season with 3 meets across 3 days this weekend, highlighted by its first-place finish at the Rhody opener on Friday. Women's track and field also began its season this weekend as the Rams hosted the URI Pentathlon on Thursday and finished second in a tri-meet on Friday. Then they wrapped up the weekend by traveling to Boston University for the Sharon Collier Danville season opener. Finally, swim and dive went to Philadelphia for a tri-meet on Saturday as the Rams fell to both LaSalle 183-114 and to UMass 183-115. That's all for this week's edition of the Rhody Sports Corner. To stay updated with all things URI athletics, follow us on X at @cigar_sports. Back to you, Morganne.
Thanks, David. Before we end our show today, we'd like to take a moment to recognize some of the Cigar staff members that will be leaving us this semester.
Hello, my name is Ellie Senhen. I'm the current, or I guess graduating editor-in-chief of the Good 5 Cent Cigar. I was a news editor before this for 1 semester, and then before that, I was a staff reporter. Then before that, I was a contributing reporter. So I've been with Cigar since my freshman year. My first week, actually, I was originally a psychology major, and then I switched into journalism and writing with John Pantalone. And so I immediately just switched what I was going to do into journalism, and I had no idea what I was going to do.
What's up, guys? My name is David Okula. I was a sports staff reporter for the Cigar from the second semester of my second year to the first semester of my third year, and then I took over as sports editor, and that's been the role that I've been working as over the past year, and obviously wrapping up this week.
Hello, my name is Sully Cummins. I'm the production manager of the newspaper and have been for the past 3 semesters. Before that, I was a news editor, and my time the past 4 semesters with the Cigar have just meant the world to me.
And so I guess what I'll take away from being in the Cigar is that you just want to follow your heart and do really what you want to do. I thought that I could bend my field of study and be in psychology and do writing as a side thing or writing as a minor and not really focus in what I wanted to do at my heart. And then I realized that I can share stories with, people that I love, and I can talk to new people and learn about their stories and share those with the world. And I think that's really what I want to do. And there's so many memories I have with the Cigar. I think the first story I ever wrote, I did a Narragansett town hall meeting with the current editor, or the current news editors at the time. And we went to the Narragansett town hall meeting. They were doing something for a class. I was covering the Cigar, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know how to take notes. I didn't know that I was supposed to record the meeting, and so I ran up to random students that were in the audience and tried to get quotes from them. It ended up being really butchered. And then I sent it in a few weeks, or a few days later, and the editors helped me out and, sort of made it into the article it turned out to be, which was a pretty decent article. And it was just, I had so much love and they just gave me so much grace when I was writing for the first time. And I'll never forget that. And then of course, just chilling in the Cigar room, taking naps on the couches. I overbooked myself a lot, and so I ended up being really tired my last few weeks, but I just would spend all my time and sort of soak up the energy in the cigar room and then bring it out to all my classes.
What I'll take away from the cigar, I think it really just starts and ends with the relationships and the friendships that I've been able to build. This really does feel like a family, the Good 5 Cent Cigar. I know it sounds cliche maybe, but the friendships that I've been able to build through this, other members of the e-boards just staying late on Wednesday night productions, obviously all of the reporters that I was able to work with, sports reporters that I was able to work with, those Monday night pitch meetings, I always made those so fun. But yeah, the Wednesday night productions are something that I'll have memories from those that I'll take with me forever. Along with that, I also have gotten the opportunity to cover a lot of high-profile sporting events just in these past couple weeks. I was able to cover a postseason football game. I was able to go to Providence to cover the URI Providence basketball game this past weekend. So also just being able to get the opportunity as sports editor and as staff reporter to cover games like this has been an awesome opportunity and something that I'll take away from the cigar.
I want to thank Lauren Drapeau and Nathan Robillard for encouraging me to join the newspaper. I owe a lot to you guys, and the cigar has been such a huge part of my life, and without you guys, I never would have found it. I also want to thank Ryan Palillo and Zachary Petraske and Abby Chips. You guys were, and friends that I've made along the way, and I've had so much fun getting to know you guys. And another huge thank you to this current e-board. Ellie Senhen and Maya Hembruff, you guys have helped turn this paper into probably the best one I've seen in my 4 semesters here. And it's just been a blast working with you.
And for plans after ILS, I am interning with WPRI 12 at the news desk as an intern in the spring. I'm going to be continuing my work with the URI Community News Lab, and then I'm taking my capstone courses. And then I'm going to be graduating, and then after that, I really want to be an environmental reporter. I haven't gotten to do a lot of that with the cigar, but I hope that with my internships and stuff in the news lab that I'll be able to hone in on those skills more. But yeah, the cigar just made me into a person, made me into a leader, made me into someone who wants to teach people how to do what I do. And I really love that aspect of the newspaper.
As for my plans moving forward, I'm actually graduating this coming Saturday. So after that, it's going to be a lot of job applications, really just trying to lock down a job in the near future. But yeah, those are my plans moving forward. And then as for thank yous, like I said, it really starts with what I'll remember from the cigar, the relationships that I've built, and that's every single member of the e-board that I've been able to work with over this past year. Just a big thank you to you guys. There were some people that had already worked with the e-board, and you guys welcomed me with open arms, and then there are people that I've been able to get to know, build those friendships, and they're friendships that I'll take with me forever. And one final thank you to anyone who's ever read one of my articles. I know my family has been one of my biggest supporters, and special shout out to my mom. She is known as the biggest fan of the Good 5 Cent Cigar, so special shout out to her. But yeah, I've loved every second of working with the cigar, and everyone has been a part of that, both on the e-boards and as reporters.
Post-cigar, I'll be moving on to work for the Harrington School for the month of January while I search for jobs and hopefully find my way in the world of journalism, computer science, and running, because those are my biggest interests. But I'll be in Rhode Island and around if you guys ever need anything, so don't hesitate to reach out. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you all for such a great semester. Good luck with your careers.
David, I just want to say congratulations on graduating. You were the best sports editor I could have ever asked for. You made me a way better writer. Your feedback, your criticism, all helped me so much. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for trusting me with bigger stories, getting me in the paper. Good luck with whatever you do in the future, and I can't wait to see what's next for you, man.
What's up, David? Just want to jump on and say thank you for your effort and all the support you've given me and everyone else throughout your time with the cigar, especially on the podcast side, of course. It was an idea, but it wasn't going to happen without your support and your willingness to jump in as co-host. And I did the math across our 9 episodes, 366 minutes. And, that's 1 minute away from being really awesome. So just thank you for all the time. I'm sure you'll do great things in the future.
Hi, Sully. I know this is
kind of bittersweet that you're going to be leaving us here at the paper. I'm going to miss you incredibly. You've done a wonderful job. You are such a joy to have around, and I'm sure that the entire staff over the time that you've been here has had a better experience because you're such a joy to work with, a creative, fun, kind person, and you always did a wonderful job. And so I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you contributed while you were staff at the Cigar and the production coordinator, and I'm sure that whatever you choose to do next will be a success. I'll miss you. Congratulations. Bye.
Hey, it's Casey. Just wanted to say goodbye to everyone. To Dustin, you were a great person. Boo Penguins. To Sully, it was wonderful working as a news editor with you. To David, I loved seeing you on Rhody Sports Corner. You brought a great vibe. To Ellie, miss you, and I will keep sending you pictures of Roscoe, as long as you keep sending me pictures of Junie.
That's all we have for you this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Rhody Cigar and pick up our print paper anywhere on campus to stay up to date with all your Rhody news. You can find us online at rhodycigar.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Morganne Judd. This is the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast, and as always, have a great week, Rhody.